quickly because you were able to have these
Yeah,
conversations.
my average friends were like 90.
Yeah,
Like
which is
this,
crazy.
so you're about 5 years old. Yeah, at the time, I didn't think it was so bad, but we look back on it. It's not exactly a smart choice. Daycare centers, you have daycare centers today. Back then, they really didn't have. They had boarding houses.
Really?
Yeah, for like traveling salesmen or airline stewardesses, people coming in and out. So you go down to a boarding house,
Yeah.
and you'd see 11 strangers. And the next day, there's 9 strangers. It's a boarding house, literally like
Wow.
low rent,
Yeah.
you know.
Do
You
you
got some guy who smells like turkey
Well, that
who's in
kind
the
of
next room. You go, yo, can't wait till he moves on and get that guy that smelled like crab back in here. He was
Oh
great.
my
Nice.
God. I mean, that probably makes sense for why you like Jell-O so much today. Is that's probably
I
all you were eating in the old
I
folks'
do.
home.
I like food that doesn't
require
require any
chewing.
intelligence
rice
whatsoever.
pudding and Jell-O?
Exactly
And
right.
applesauce.
And
Well,
Right.
applesauce.
you know, so since 5 years old, you're left with strangers. You told us countless times the amounts that you've ran away from home.
A
I
lot.
remember
A lot.
one time, actually, I don't know if you remember this. We were in Philadelphia
Yeah.
maybe 4 years ago together. It was just you and me. And we were just walking through the streets and we were getting nostalgic and you were telling me all these stories. And you stopped me on the street corner and you said, right here, I was 13 years old when I ran away from home and I lit my first cigarette on this corner right here in
Get out of
Philadelphia.
here.
I
I
swear. And I
remember
said,
that.
I don't
Yeah.
know why I thought that was the coolest story ever. My dad smoking a cigarette at 13, but you were really nostalgic about it. And I think that's,
Isn't it funny how certain things that get burnt into your memory, like certain
yeah.
things that are just apocalyptic in your life? Oh, my first cigarette, which I remember very well, it was a Parliament, it was a Parliament new filter types. Like, whoa, so you get to die a little bit later, that kind of thing.
Oh,
Before then,
God.
cigarettes were not considered bad; they're considered very cool.
Right.
Mhm.
So everyone, by the time they were 12 or 13, had some pack rolled up in their shoulder.
Yeah, it
or
was
this,
trendy. It was
yeah,
cool
Right.
back
it
then.
was terrible.
So,
It was terrible.
I mean, how many times did you run away from home?
Oh my God. Literally, at least a dozen or more, but it was never planned. For example, this is what's so different. Why I would hate to have raised myself. I could have never done it. I would put myself up for adoption.
But I don't
immediately.
blame you. I mean, I would.
No,
it was your
seriously, I
parents
believe it.
more
I'm no
so.
picnic. I had this attention disorder kind of a thing. I just didn't focus on anything. So anything that would become routine or boring, I would leave. So I began on my way to school, 16 years old.
Mhm.
I go, God, I want to go to Florida. I want to go to Florida. And literally start
just go.
hitchhiking to Florida,
Wow.
starting at Roosevelt Boulevard in Philadelphia. No money.
Oh
In other
my
words,
God.
whatever I had for lunch and a coat, which I ended up selling outside of a swamp in Ocala, Florida for $3, which I remember that saved me. That $3 was really important. But yeah, that's what I would do. And then you get to the bottom, you get to Florida, and I go, okay, now what? I
Yeah, how do
have
you
to
get
get
home?
arrested or something because I have to get back to Philadelphia. No one's going to
No
volunteer.
That's not
way.
what you
Sure.
did. You'd purposely get arrested,
So
so then
Mhm.
they'd send you home.
What type of
Right.
things
Because you
would
were a
you do?
minor.
What
Right.
would you do to get
That's so
arrested?
clever.
Thank you.
What would you do
I
to get
guess that's
arrested?
Well,
not
what
the right
happened
thing to
was
say,
the
but
dumbest thing was this doesn't bode well for our military either. So I'm in Ocala, Florida,
Mhm.
alone. And I just sold my coat for $3. And I said, okay, I have enough for a meal, but I got to get back to Philadelphia. And I see a military base. And I break onto the military base.
What?
But it's so simple. It's like, I really, literally,
How is that simple?
yeah,
Wait.
it's a fence. It's like not like complicated. It wasn't like,
But
sirens and
did it?
guys with machine guns. It's like a
Oh.
Oh my
fence.
gosh.
That's
Like you
it?
expect a guy with a lawnmower behind it going, come on in. Yeah. So I went in.
Yeah.
Place is deserted. It's maybe 10 o'clock at night. Then there's a thing called the PX, which is where it's kind of like a place you go to eat.
Yeah.
PX, buy cigarettes. I go in there. Of course, everything's locked up except oatmeal. This is why I
Oatmeal.
have such an
Oatmeal.
affinity for oatmeal.
Any soft food.
Well, the thing is, you never, ever put oatmeal in your mouth dry.
Oh.
You guys heard it here first on the Unwaxed podcast. Make sure you do not eat dry oatmeal.
Ever.
Who eats dry oatmeal?
Well,
What is that?
what-
Why are you
But,
giving this a warning? That's a weird thing
But
to
why would
do.
you even wanna do
I
it?
was hungry. I said, okay, look at oatmeal. That sounds great. Quaker Oats guy on the box. No
And you
problem.
poured it in
How
your mouth?
dangerous could it be, huh?
He
You
looks friendly
dumped it in
enough.
your mouth?
Yeah, just like that. And by the time I brought it back,
Oh God.
no.
it was so jammed up. It was so dry. No, it became like sponges. I started choking to death
So
So
you're
you
choking on a oatmeal packet
Oatmeal.
in a military base.
in a military base in Ocala, Florida.
Right.
And they came in. And I go,
Oh,
thank
God.
God.
And
for
did they arrest
coffee.
you and
Thank
save
God
you?
for oatmeal. Thank
They
God.
arrested you and saved you.
Yes, they did. Mhm.
I
Okay,
just can't
so-
even.
You were quite the menace as a kid.
Yeah.
Such a menace that you tell us countless stories of how you were kicked out of
A lot of schools.
13 schools. Was it 13 or 14 schools?
13.
13 schools.
They would have made 14, but they ran out of schools.
So, but they weren't regular schools, obviously.
well,
they were
what happens,
military
you-
schools, schools for troubled
Yeah, you have to
kids.
work your way through. Again, in all fairness to myself,
Okay.
I wasn't raised in a right way. In other words,
Mhm.
my brain has always been flipped sideways. It's
Mhm.
just the way I've interpreted life. That's why now I realize I made the right choice. But back then, you were a menace.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You were going nowhere. You were what is known as a juvenile delinquent, JD.
He puts that in quotes.
That's what-
I was a delinquent.
That's right. You were a JD. So that's when I realized earlier on, after they kept sending me to school after school after school, they go, he just doesn't fit in. I go, guys, it's like the seventh school. Where do
Right.
I fit in? He goes, I don't know. Then we tried it again. And they said, he just doesn't fit in. And we're not going to allow him back. He's such a disruptor for us. We won't let him back into the state of Pennsylvania.
What did you
Oh, yeah.
do to
So
get
the whole-
that?
It was
Yeah.
all- and Maryland, it was banned from the entire Maryland school board.
What?
Montgomery
But
Hills, I
Dad, it's
remember
not.
well.
Is
It's
this
not
because
you
the
just
milita-
having ADD in class to get that. That
Well, I
is
was
pretty
all-
bad.
No, I was adventurous.
Do you remember the story you told me about you going to military school and stealing knives from
Yeah.
your what would you call your captains or your
Officers.
officers?
hmm
So was that the factor that caused you to not even be able to
Well,
go to schools?
I
or
said,
was
how
it-
do I get out? Now I'm in a school where everyone's
Oh, no.
very physical.
Yeah.
They all look like they're grown men with like full beards. I mean, they're like 16, 17 years old, but they've been there.
And this is the place to get you in order. But
You're right. So they took these kids there from the time they were 8, and they'd be there until they're 18. So when they came out at 18, they were tough.
Wow.
I
Oh my
mean,
God.
tough. There was no love lost. This is when you had corporal punishment. You take a kid in the back room and just smack the hell out of him.
Wow.
That's
So-
what it was.
At this point, this school is for troubled kids
Yeah.
that need
It's
behavioral.
for kids you don't want.
Well, this
Right,
is
this
Yeah.
isn't.
this
This
is
like,
isn't.
Get rid
Is this
like
Devereaux
what's
or
it's
military?
kid,
Deborah.
born
No,
accidents.
are you talking about the military school or Devereaux?
No, military school.
It's military school.
You're still at military school here.
Yeah.
And this is the craziest part is
I
You're
that
not
haven't
even
got
in
to
the
the hard
troubled
one
school
yet.
yet. Oh
the
no.
fact that
But anyway, it's,
you know all this stuff is happening. These kids are getting hit and they're getting corporal punishment, but you still find the need to steal stuff.
Yeah.
And so you get that same punishment knowing that that could happen.
That's why I think it's just, yes, I think there's something to be said about a certain mentality that when you're told not to, right away you say, that's for normal people. I can pull this one off.
Yeah.
I can do it. It's like a stupid dare. Like, oh, what are you, chicken? To jump off a building? Nah, I'll try
Well,
it. No,
that's-
you're just stupid.
That seems
Well,
really
no, but that's human behavior. You tell
Exactly
a kid
right.
you're not allowed to go out, they're gonna sneak out.
That's my point. So I had that overdeveloped sense of competition.
Mm.
If you say no, let's
well, that
try it.
definitely plays into your character today, I think, a lot.
Oh yeah.
Of just when you say no, you mean yes.
No,
And that
nice.
still plays every conversation, every fight we
So,
have.
After
definitely-
you know what I think is so interesting too? Just like you have that cigarette story, you keep your report card from high school as well. And you show it all the time. You have it
I use
50
it as an
years later.
example
Why do you use it as an example?
because it shows that you can fail every class
Yeah.
and still end up pretty good
Right.
So but you didn't fail every class.
every class.
No, you didn't fail
Except-
art class.
Well, art.
Yeah, but
That's-
that
that's
you're an
makes-
artiste. It makes sense.
Well, in
Full
a
circle.
sense, if you saw the picture, it was a horse with flies going around his head. It wasn't exactly Matisse.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. We do have one of your sketches framed from when you were 15.
Yeah.
And I go up to mom. I'm like, why is this up? Like, just because, a kid paints it doesn't mean I'm not going to insult your work. It's good.
You are insulting his
It's
work.
good, but it was just like a
Oh, you
kid
passed insult
sketching.
about 15 minutes ago. Well,
How?
now we're into like, yes.
No,
No, I think, can I
Do
actually,
you have all my photos?
Now we're bordering on a lawsuit.
okay.
For deprivation of character here.
Oh, I mean, then
Oh.
that should be issued every single day between all three of us.
Okay.
Because we are. I think the craziest schooling you had, which is, we had this discussion for a really long time that we wanted to make this into a TV show, like a horror show, was your time at Devereaux. And this is a school, if anyone knows what it is, it's in Massachusetts, or was. I don't know if it's still around. And it's a school for troubled kids, like behavioral issues. And I think that was like the final straw for every schooling that was
it.
dealing
That
with
was
you.
it.
Well,
even
that's
military,
the end. I can't believe you're bringing that up. It's a very...
Well, we don't have to get into it that deep.
We don't, but I just find
No,
the
it's
stories
nothing
there are
perverse.
crazy.
It's just a school where you never go home.
Right. So give listeners maybe context how this would be different from a
Okay,
general
they take
public
you at a
school.
certain... they test you, and some people are sent there by the state, but you have to have a certain penchant IQ for something. You can't just be a horrible human being. You have to have like some shining grace, something.
Right.
And I don't know, they found it in art, but that school was so strict and so difficult that anytime you had a problem, you're dealing with another 25 kids in your class. Every one of them had severe, like, violent problems, or they came from home where they had serious issues between their parents and them. Just odd. And when you would become truant, now you lived there, but if you were late for classes, or you're flirting with a girl, they would take you to a place called... Well, it was called Byberry at one time. Then
Oh,
they
yeah, I
changed
remember you
it.
saying that.
No, but it's called Park Lodge. And Park Lodge was a building where they would send lifers to. And a lifer is a person that never gets out.
It was an
ever.
insane asylum.
Yeah, pretty much. An insane asylum. It's an insane asylum. And I'm going, what am I doing in an insane asylum? All I was doing was talking to a couple kids. But they would
You were
use it.
sent to the insane asylum? From
How old were
to
you
punish
here?
you?
Yeah,
Well, how old were you here?
16.
So you were flirting with girls at this behavioral school, and to
Yeah.
punish the students, they would like have them go as a retreat.
1
To
week,
the
2
side.
weeks, 3 weeks
No way.
into a
Whoa.
padded cell. Yeah.
That's so wrong.
Oh, it's so wrong. Until you've been there and you're with people that are in that situation for life. Again, girls, this is in the 60s, and the world is a different place. There was a whole
Right.
different place. Back then, corporal punishment was normal. In other words, the guys would walk around there with all the fellas there were lifers, and a lot of them couldn't talk. If you ever saw the film Cuckoo's Nest,
Yeah.
that's a joke. Very nice movie,
Right.
but it's almost a fun place.
Mm-hmm.
It's not fun. So the point being, I would go through that, and you come back into the normal school system,
Mm-hmm.
and supposedly you learn something, not really that much. Then I realized that people's human nature is pretty well set up at an early age. And as long as you're not innately cruel or doing things that are incredibly vindictive to individuals, I never saw myself as anything other than, misunderstood youth,
Right.
like everyone else feels, and looking for my place in the world. So I was never what you call like an incorrigible, horrible human
No.
being that was looking to rob or steal or
Right.
hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at anything, just mischief.
Yeah, you were.
To get out of schooling.
Right.
Right.
Even though,
And so,
yeah.
and that's what you did. And I want to touch on the fact that you said you just did what you could to survive, because I feel like that's been your entire life's journey
Completely,
so far.
yeah.
So you make it out of Devereaux.
Yeah.
You're now a young adult. And I would love to sort of get into your early career, because you have probably the most abnormal resume I have ever heard in my life. I mean, just to name a few, you were a lion cage cleaner,
Yeah, right.
a bouncer, you cut fish, you were an usher,
Good
a
fish
books.
cutter.
I want to get into that.
You were a
Good
You were a
volleyball
books,
coach?
book salesman.
When were you a volleyball coach?
In Switzerland.
Oh,
I have to say something. I was
Casual.
I was in New York last week,
Yeah.
and there was a man cutting fish. And I don't know, I stopped in the street and I said to myself, my dad used to do that.
That's right.
But how were you a fish cutter?
I was such a good fish cutter.
I
and I
don't-
will
but
go
I
on
have a
record
hard
saying
time believing that.
I'm serious. Your mother was with me, am I right? We went to look at a home someone had for sale, and the guy was maybe 85 years old. He goes, I know you. You used to cut the best fish
Oh,
at
did
Dover
you?
Deli. Am I lying?
I believe you.
You could read through it. I was for some reason me and fish.
You and fish are
Me
Slice
and
it.
fish.
Of course, you get complaints. Everyone, it's not thick enough. But yeah, I would do that, and I just do a lot of these odd jobs because I thought if I do all these horrible jobs at night, it would leave the day open to go out and pursue my alleged career,
Mhm.
and nothing was happening. So I would take any random job from bodyguards to this to chasing people to
chasing people?
Well,
yeah. I chase people out of bookstores
if they robbed.
if they robbed.
Yeah.
No,
So
chasing
through all of
things.
these oddball jobs,
Odd jobs.
did you get fired from many of them?
Everyone.
Okay.
Which one were you the best at, though? The fish
I was
cutting?
fantastic at being an usher.
Why?
Actually, I can see that.
Because people go, oh, it's an usher. I go, no, you don't get it. Usher, I can go to class 8 hours a day and watch a film, how it's broken down, how it's written, how it's truly constructed and deconstructed, because I watch it every day. And I started taking notes. And I became really good at understanding editorial.
Right.
And we ended up
Yeah.
winning an Oscar for
Was that
best
your-
editing.
But
And,
Was that your introduction to
that was
film?
my introduction to it, yeah. So I thought, okay, let me just take this horrible job, but I know there's a plan there. It isn't
Mhm.
like, okay, I went to 4 years of college to become an usher. No, I went to 4 years of college to eventually do something in the arts.
right.
And I thought, here it is. This is a no-brainer.
So at
Right.
that point, when you were an usher and you're watching the film and you're breaking it down in your head, were you wanting to be an actor or were you wanting to be a screenwriter, editor, director?
All right, the acting was, I was starting to realize this is never going to happen. People were saying, oh, you have a speech impediment, your mouth is crooked, you slur. And I go, tell me something I don't know. I know that. They said, well, it's just not going to work. Maybe you'll be an extra. So I started to buy into that and go, because every time I was cast, it was always for a thug.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? I always thought I'd be like Hugh Grant, as like a
Oh,
selling book,
do
as
you
a love
really?
interest. Yeah. What are you saying no for over there?
Mom's saying no.
Come on, you married me. It had to be something.
Okay. She's
Something.
so shy.
She thinks you're funny.
I know she does think I'm funny. She's the greatest. Don't she'll have a heart attack. Oh yeah. My wife is the shyest person.
You know
ever
what you've
born.
always said to us though was that no matter what we do in life, always learn how to write, because regardless of anything, because that's what kind of, I guess.
Yeah, you don't even have to be a good writer.
Exactly.
You just have to write, and eventually your inner thoughts will come to the surface and take care of themselves. To be a gifted writer, it's freakish. Like you can be a really gifted actor
Mhm.
and a terrible writer, terrible director. You know, have to know what your niche is. So anyway, acting, I realized I was always going to play the thug. I was always going to be the mugger. I was always beating up Woody Allen or beating up Jack Lemmon or beating up who's the guy that played David Carradine.
Mhm.
Actually, David Carradine beat me up. That's when I realized I said, enough is enough. I can't take it anymore. In Death Race 2000. And that's when I started to
Nice.
focus
Love
on
that movie.
the written word. And I was never good. I
Well,
was,
Wait, how
I
did
would
you?
like to talk about the fact that you just said that you're never good
Never.
because people tend to pursue careers or hobbies at things that they know they're good at, or at least they think that they're good at.
Mhm.
But writing is one of those things that either you go to school and you're taught how to do it, or you're just naturally gifted and that's something that just pours out of you.
Mm.
But you're saying, I knew I wasn't a good writer. So what made you continue to write
Because I
screenplay
never
after
passed the
screenplay?
English course. In other words, when you say good writer, I'll use that terminology, and you understand the inner workings and outer workings of the English language. In other
Mhm.
words, you understand how to deconstruct and construct a sentence, how to diagram a sentence, how to know what a pronoun is, an adjective. Not me.
But you don't need to know
I
that.
understand, but you do.
They
in a
do
sense.
teach you that you need to know that.
People
yeah.
will grade you. Like you go to college, you turn in your term paper, and you've turned it in the way I turn it in. They say you're an idiot.
That-
But the
listen.
difference is, it's the way people speak.
Then how did you teach yourself then?
I just an ear.
Did you read a lot? Was it like
I
watching?
did read a lot. I didn't read when I was in college, and then I started when I was broke. I would spend hours at the New York Library.
Mhm.
just looking for subject matter, and then eventually I came across Edgar
Edgar
Allan
Allan Poe, I
Poe,
knew it.
and I said, what do I have to do with this guy? Nothing, zero. He's a stone genius. He's a poet laureate. He's an incredible writer. And I mean, he would have been the most amazing director. In other words, he didn't
Yeah.
have that
Yeah.
visual
So
outlet back then.
is he what changed everything for you?
But here's what changed me, folks, is when you start to get something that's out of your wheelhouse. For example, writing about Poe. I was no longer writing about what I did last summer or my adventure or how I got along with my mother. It was about another subject.
Mm.
So now I became a writer about another subject. So you
Right.
became an investigator, you became you're exploring. In other words,
Mhm.
you became a vehicle for writing that's not just about you.
Yeah.
Like you'll see some things like Woody Allen. He'll do 80% of his material is him
Right.
about his life.
Mhm.
That's what he does,
Mhm.
and he does it well. Whereas I thought, "Oh, I'm never gonna get out of this until I start writing about someone else's life." And that was the beginning of Poe, and then from Poe, I did a thing called Cheerful Charlie, which is an incredible story about
You've written over 45
yeah, a
screenplays. I
lot of
think mom
screenplays.
told
So
us
did
that.
you, going off of what you had just said, was writing outside of your wheelhouse, writing about people and stories that weren't about you, was that sort of an escape from your own
Yeah, it
reality?
was. You know, especially writing female parts. Like when you write Adrian, people go, "Oh, Rocky. Rocky's not a." If someone says Rocky's a sports film again, I want to spin
Wait,
up
why
my
does that
stuff.
upset you
Yeah.
so much?
Because it's not a
What is it?
sports film.
Clear it up right now.
A
What is
sports film is
Rocky?
what is Rocky is a love story about
Mhm.
a guy who's a broken down fighter. That's all it is.
Right.
It's never about money. It's never about, oh, I became champion. Oh, I want to be champion.
I just
No.
put something together. So you love Edgar Allan Poe, his brain, his love stories, his emotions, and then you always used to tell us you used to look up to Hercules as
Yeah,
a physical
sure.
being. Do you think that's like a combination of the two with
You have,
Rocky?
oh my God, it is Edgar's
It is.
brain
Think about it,
and
because
Hercules' body.
Hercules is he go from like zero to hero, and then you have Edgar Allan Poe who's like immensely in love with this. What was it? Penelope. What was her name?
Annabelle Lee.
Annabelle Lee. Ah, ha ha
What?
ha.
Oh.
Maybe I just unlocked something that you didn't even realize.
So you're saying because I like Hercules and I like Poe, you've just discovered something?
Yeah. Well, I realized that's Rocky
No, but I think you might have hit on something.
because you were saying that. I think that's something even that I do. I think even Sistine does, and a lot of people do is to sometimes see like a better version of themselves. They start to create a different character, and you
Right.
probably saw. I mean, is that how you started Rocky? Did you always love boxing before?
No. It
No.
was
So
okay. I just saw it as a very, very easy sport to figure out.
you think that's
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's pretty simple. And then you realize how much skill goes into it, which is extraordinary. And it's also add the life and death aspect of
Yeah.
it. But boxing, I realize people are obsessed with two things in life: racing and boxing. In every aspect. Oh, you got to race to beat the clock. You got to race to get your thing on time. Race, get your tax return. You race, 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 race. Get your finals done. It's always going somewhere.
Yeah.
Time is up. So, and people will bet on how fast his phone falls. I mean, anything
Mhm.
is nothing's off limits for racing, for time. And I thought, okay, what's the other thing that everyone relates to symbolically? Fighting.
hmm
Soon as a guy walks into the room, he sizes up another guy. Oh, how would I last against him? I mean, everything is competitive.
Mhm.
And then it gets down to you realize, shit, life is a big battle, man. There's no flat spots. It's usually you solve one problem, then you got another one. Then
Right.
you got this job. Then you got a terrible relationship. You got a good relationship, but it falls apart. Well, one thing after another, fighting. So I thought if I could write a story that deals with a guy who's a schlumpy guy who on the outside looks like a real tough guy, should maybe have it together. He has nothing together.
Yeah.
And people can relate to that
Yeah.
Yeah.
because he doesn't even think of himself as tough. He's just a loser,
Well,
and he
there's
admits he's a loser.
there's so much that people can relate to within the
Mhm.
film, and I think that aside from it being a love story, obviously it highlights the message of not giving up,
Right.
and people really resonate with that. And I think a lot of, fans of yours don't know, or maybe they do if they're a true fan, don't know how strong that message is held even before Rocky or while Rocky was being written. Because, for example, your living situation as you were writing Rocky, I mean, you said that you would have newspapers on your walls to keep you warm. Like, what
Yeah.
was your living
Didn't you
situation
you
as you were writing the first
you
Rocky?
painted the windows black to
Yeah, I
focus.
did paint it black because I don't want to know what time it didn't matter what time it was. So,
So,
oh, it's time for breakfast. Right away, you derailed yourself.
Right.
mhm.
I'll have breakfast when I'm hungry. I don't need to know what time it
Right.
is, that kind of thing. So I was trying to eliminate all the excuses because it's hard to write, and you're looking for any reason. Please, someone call. That's why I took the phone out, so you couldn't be called.
So you were straight focus, painted black windows.
100% black
And it was
windows,
a
no
2-week.
phone.
But that actually makes a lot of sense because even today when you're writing and you go into your zones, and I know mom knows this for fact, you'll wake up at around 2 in the
Yeah,
morning and then you'll go back to bed around 7 in the
You'll
morning.
right.
isolate
I mean, your
yourself the
schedule
entire
is
time.
crazy, but I didn't know that you would do
That's your
that
writing
even when you
style.
were writing Rocky, and that's really clever.
Well, I don't know if it's clever. It just seems to
Well,
be
That's just
it's
his writing style.
I think somewhat of a genetic dispensation to have this kind of the writing gives it to you. It's kind of like a gift
Mhm.
that it will tell you when to write, when not to write. But writing, I'll tell you right now, is a miserable means of existence. It is terrible.
Is there anything you like about
No, there's
writing?
nothing.
Nothing. Okay.
You love the end result. You love the fact that you have it on paper. I respect writing, unbelievable, but the process itself, and I've discussed this with so many writers. Look at writers;
Mhm.
they look
It's true.
ready to
Right.
kill themselves.
Yeah, it's
They're
a
all
lot.
worn out. They're tired. They live in their own heads. Psychologically, they're torn to shreds because they can never be in the moment. They could never be in this. Right now, if I was writing a screenplay, I'd be going, "Fuck, is that line I'm working on? Oh yeah, hi, hello." But I'm
Oh
still
my
going,
God.
I gotta finish that thing. So you're
Mm.
torn like that, and that's why a lot of alcoholics, writers become alcoholics.
Right.
Right.
They do.
Well, I'm sure not knowing what time it was for you definitely spun you out in a bad way.
And
But
you
obviously it worked out because how you wrote the screenplay in what, 3 days?
Yeah,
4 days? 3
yeah,
days?
3
No,
days,
I thought it was a 4 days?
3.5 days.
3.5
Oh, I thought it
days.
was a week.
No, because again, I tell young people that want to be writers, don't get so hung up on the perfection. Know that 90% of it is garbage.
Mm.
The fact that you got through, that's amazing. That you actually got a beginning, middle, and end, no matter how flawed, that's the hard part. Because 90% of the writers, they go up to about page 80 and they burn out.
Hmm.
Page 90, burn out. They don't have that finale. If you happen to have an ending, man, you're home free.
How did you feel going from being literally a kid kicked out of 13 schools, selling your dog, all the stuff, having barely any money to scrape by, to instant stardom?
It's kind of shocking because therein lies a terrible attribute that people actually it's a character flaw, it's not an attribute, where you tend to seek out revenge. I told you so. I told you so. I
Right.
told you so. So now you become a bit more belligerent. I warned you of this and that. And it's like a fighter after having won a victory, you're standing over your opponent like this. You don't need to do that. You
Mhm.
Right.
won. You knocked out. You proved your point. That to me was my biggest problem.
Hmm.
And it took years to work that out because
Right.
you open your mouth up and you burn a few bridges, and that
Were
was
you
foolish.
were you applying that "I told you so" towards agencies, movie studios, or was it just the world in
Mostly
general?
critics.
Critics.
Hmm.
Okay.
Mostly critics who said you couldn't do it, this and that, or there's certain ways that you come into this business, and I came in a very obtuse way, so I wasn't exactly everyone's favorite.
Mhm.
I'm like an anomaly. So I didn't work my way up, in other words. Some actors say, oh, De Niro did this, and Pacino went to that class, and they worked their way up. They earned it.
Right.
And so they said you didn't earn it.
Well, they say, I just put it this way, who is this guy? You know what I mean? Like, where did he come from? What are his credentials? He's okay, I guess, for an amateur. That kind of a
Oh.
And
thing.
it's
No,
ironic.
it's all right. I get it. I get it. It's no big deal. That's what sells papers. But the point is, you're supposed to hopefully just let it go
Mhm.
because you won. You got the prize.
Mhm.
If you sit there and flaunt it, that's what's really horrible. And that's what, like, a lot of guys make that. And I see it happening and I go, oh man, I want to give this guy a call and say, just take your win and leave.
Mhm.
Don't sit there and grind and make this critic's a fool and that critic's a fool. And it's not true. It's just, that's not how the business works. Listen, you've had critics since they were doing plays of Antigone back in, ancient Greece. It's
Yeah.
always been that way.
But I don't know if you learned that lesson until later on in life.
I
This is
probably
just
haven't.
a
I'm
kid's
probably
point of
just
view.
talking crap. I
No,
haven't
no, no.
learned
I'm
it at
saying you.
all.
I think exactly what you're saying right now. I think you do right now, 100%. But were you that way when you were by the Rocky 4 comes along? You're already known. You're already famous. But are you still having that sort of attitude of saying,
Yeah, I think
yeah,
so.
that's what I'm saying. So when did you realize? At what age did this realization come?
I think when you almost lose it, I had a real down period, say around 95 when I did Copland, 95, 96. And I said, oh, let me do something really off, off my, out of my comfort zone. And I did it. And I was very happy with the project, but actually it set me way back.
Why?
The studios are going, why would you do that, man? You did that for nothing. Why wouldn't you just do an action film? I said, because I was going to do it. I was going to do an action film next. I was just trying to prove a point to myself and whoever cared. They go, well, that doesn't make us look good because you're doing this for free, and why would we pay you?
Mhm.
And anyway, it began a real bad spiral for about 8 years.
And
8 years.
did you write anything in between that?
No.
I mean, I couldn't imagine as a very successful actor not working. What does
Totally.
that do to an actor's ego?
Well,
Jennifer, do you want to
She's like-
answer
ask
this
my
one?
wife about that.
What do you think, Mom?
Well, I'm not, probably can't hear me, but it was we had Sophia and then we had you, Sistine. So I just stayed being a mom.
She stayed busy. I stayed neurotic.
He stayed neurotic. We just kind of left him in the movie theater watching films all day.
So
For years and years and years and years. I said, I'm going to try to make one last Rocky. And nobody wanted to do it. The producer said, over my dead body, it's never going to happen. And it's a real wake-up call.
yeah.
Yeah. No one wanted to do it. And we happened to be in a restaurant one night, and we met a fellow who, name was Joe. And you should admit, right? Yeah, Joe.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't want to get him in trouble or anything. So he goes, yeah, it's a great idea. It sounds like a good story. Bring it on over. So I brought over because my wife knew him. He goes, the screenplay, my wife read it and she cried. I went, yeah, now
Are
we're
you
there.
saying
Now
that
we're in.
Mom brought you back from the dead of 60? Yeah, she's cheering because she knows she did.
Hold on.
she'll
So
take-
Jennifer was the
Jennifer,
one
don't
that
take
created
credit for
Rocky
everything.
Balboa.
Well, she started the introduction, which therefore created
but
the last film.
Mom sent the script over to the wife, right?
Okay, Mom.
Well, I sent the script to Joe.
Don't you? I did.
Look
You
at
didn't do
this.
any. You didn't do anything.
I was pitching my own project.
Ah.
But
Okay, Mama.
so
Behind
Now
every
the
strong
truth
man
comes
is a
out.
stronger woman. That's
All right, I'll give her credit.
It's you, girl.
I have a question. What was the worst film you've done, and what was your favorite film to do?
Worst film.
Rhinestones. Just kidding. That was my favorite. You and
Stop,
Dolly
or my
Parton.
mom will
I
shoot.
listen. I had fun on that movie.
You in Chaps with Dolly Parton.
That
Are
was
you
the
kidding
best.
me? That's your peak.
That was.
I feel like
so
that is
much-
actually who you are.
People
you
need
guys
to bring
think,
that back.
No, I think
That's
people
closer
think,
to who I
That's what
am.
I'm saying. People think he's
Yeah.
more Rambo. You're way more Rhinestone.
Yeah.
Way more.
Or Oscar. When you tried to do comedy
another
one
Oh
one.
time,
my God, Oscar's
Listen.
funny.
you're
Yeah.
a funny guy in life. I don't know if comedy is your thing.
Well, there's another thing. I think
Yeah.
you build a certain kind of image,
Yeah.
and like if Clint Eastwood came in here right now and did one of the great comedy routines.
No. Just
Look at us. See, already going. I don't know.
No.
I'd be afraid to laugh because he may shoot me.
But that's what,
That's the point.
but I feel like that's what people feel like with
That
you.
they
but then
do.
they see, they're
They
like, oh,
do. They do. So I have to realize you're not exactly the comedic type looking. You just don't
Yeah.
fit that thing. So therein lies the issue.
right.
Yeah. So, but it took a few comedies to figure that out. And even though I love comedies, it was a disaster. Wow.
You're also savant. Honestly, this guy knows everything about everything. He could probably tell you where this couch was built.
I know that couch is built. This
Yeah.
is right outside of Italy. There was
No,
a couple of buck-tooth brothers who make
No,
these
but you
things.
do
No, it's
have
crazy.
Called the buck-toothos.
He may not know how to fix. My mom is probably the one that will know how to fix like the pool heater or whatever. But you'll know what year Michelangelo did a painting, or I would say mom is more the hands on deck, and then dad's more of the
Yeah, sporadic intelligence. It helps. You know, every now bathroom reading. You'd be surprised. After a while, you're an
Bathroom-
encyclopedia. Yeah,
You know what
he
I
does
honestly
have like
think?
he does have like 16 books next to his toilet.
That's right.
Have you ever seen it? He has like
that
all
why
these
you take so long in the
You have a
bathroom?
library card. You go to my
he literally
bathroom.
has
you get a
like
library
stacks
card.
of books next to it in his
That's
bathroom.
so funny. That's why you spend so much time in the
Well,
bathroom.
maybe I use it for toilet paper. Did you ever think of that?
Well,
Ew.
okay. You know what? I honestly think that if Rocky was never written, and imagine your life then, right? I think you'd be a stand-up comedian.
I don't
Because
What?
listen, you push the envelope. He does. He says things that are inappropriate but funny, and people relate to them.
I've been on good behavior today.
I know you have.
I
But
know,
don't you
this
think
is
that
really
that
good
could
behavior.
be something you'd be good at that for sure?
I know, but I think there's so many better people at it. That
No,
really,
fair.
yes.
I mean, yes.
I mean, first of all, to be a great comedian, it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of darkness,
Yeah.
and it's a lot of spending your time home feeling miserable.
Wait,
and
it
then
sounds
you got to
like
turn that
what
into
you did
somehow
for
a
8
comedy
years.
routine.
You did that for 8 years. You've got
I know, I
this.
get it. I enjoy it.
Okay.
I enjoy it. But you just can't turn around and change something that's been around for 50 years.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, we're now changing this mayonnaise, and this will be fruit gums. And wait a minute, it's mayonnaise. No, it's fruit gums from now on. You're just not going to all of a
Right.
sudden switch
And
something so
yeah.
drastic like that.
But that's I think if you guys are wondering why we have a show called Unwaxed, a lot of our personality and I think our sense of humor does come from you. We have a very raw, dry sense of humor,
Unwaxed.
and that's probably why we're still extremely single, is because no one can take us seriously. Also, you do scare them, but at the same time, I think that
Love and happiness is overrated, girls.
it
Love
is.
and happiness
So what
is
should we
overrated.
expect?
Huh.
Yeah, I want you to have misery and,
Okay.
and
You know, it's
solitude.
so funny though, because when we were growing up, you would always tell us as young girls that we weren't allowed to get married until we
No.
were 45.
I think that's
And I
projected to be
honestly
true.
believed that
Yeah,
until I was about
I still believe it.
16.
Yeah, what is wrong with it? I think it's a great idea still.
Yeah.
Why?
What's the rush?
I get no rush, but 45.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because at one time, 45 was your life expectancy. And you've already had about 11 kids at
What,
45.
like in the War of 1812? What do you mean?
That's pretty much it.
Oh,
okay.
Okay. But how was it being in a household full of girls? Because now you are with literally even all girl dogs except Buster, our one dog. Like,
What's it like?
how is it like? How is it with all girls in the house?
Oh, God. It's like being in a Cuisinart head first. Just lowered into, like when you're trying to break down ice cubes.
Okay, but there must be
It's just
something
that
you
noise
like
it makes.
about
Is there anything you like?
Yeah, come on.
About you guys?
No,
Yeah,
not
I
about girls in the household. Like,
Yeah, I guess.
Anything or am I
No, I love
You
my
like
girls.
this?
Listen. I love my girls.
Why is
They're
he here?
almost trouble free. They've been nothing
Almost.
but a pleasure. They inherit, luckily, from their mother, their morality and their sense of humor, I guess you might say.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
No,
I think what's funny and a lot of people don't know is although you have 3 daughters, it's always I guess with mom it's always 4 against 1. You raised us like macho men.
Yeah, you did.
And it's so interesting whenever I tell the story to people, they truly don't believe me. So I guess it might be better coming from you. But when we were in middle school, from maybe 2nd grade to high school,
Yeah,
you would wake us up every day at 6 a.m.
for
Mhm.
sure.
We'd have to go downstairs, push-ups, sit-ups,
Clean
throw
and
a shot,
jerk.
clean jerk, deadlift, throw a shot put.
You're in
clean
the
hot
army
put.
now.
No, but we
Wait,
did this
guys, we
every
had
day.
a little 4-pack when we were in middle school, and I wish I was kidding. Like I
The
think
4-pack.
no, genuinely, look at our like photos when we were wearing bathing suits. We had abs because
Yeah.
of
But so
the way you
why?
raised it.
But why did you?
also
and not
remember
only,
ketchup and eggs. That
oh
he made
god,
us
and
eat
not
every
only
morning?
that, you made us recite poetry every single day
Yeah.
into a tape recorder
Yeah.
every single day, and that
Yeah.
was the thing. Is what I liked about the way you raised us was none of my girlfriends could possibly relate to it because their dad would do normal dad stuff, whereas
Like what? What is normal
just
dad stuff?
normal like
Like
let me
what?
cut your peanut butter and jelly into 4
Oh
slices.
my God.
Whereas you,
That's it?
no, I'm
How
saying
about some flapjacks, girl? That's
no,
really?
but I'm saying what I can tell them is that they cannot relate to at all is did your dad make you speak into a tape recorder and recite poetry and
No.
limericks?
Now we know the
Every
Raven
single
by
day.
heart.
But what is that
why?
other one that you know that was so great? Anyway, I wanted them to articulate and hit these words known as plosive sounds, like, and so you put a piece of, I don't know,
So
you don't
bad.
even have it here.
Oh yeah,
guys-
he would put a
No, he
a
would-
tissue.
If you have a napkin or a tissue, you go, pa,
Huh.
pa, and
It-
it would pop up.
it
If
was a
not, it
competition
would
to see
Every,
how
you
high we
guys,
go
every
up.
day he would tape a napkin to our forehead.
So she had this napkin taped to her nose, and
and he would
they
make us
learned to
talk.
be so loud
Loud, yeah,
and very dramatic.
yeah.
It was
So
nice.
what was going through your with the workouts in the morning?
Because I wanted someone to do it for me, and I said, "Okay,
Okay.
I would like this. I
I
would
didn't know
like this for
Yeah.
sure. Who wouldn't want
And we
that?"
weren't allowed to do any other field sports except shot put.
Now, I wanted you girls to do something that you would be called upon never to do,
Yeah.
but when you do, you would be ready.
Hold on.
Yeah,
though.
no,
Like,
but I got
a shot
no,
put
do you
is
remember
amazing.
what happened? I got second place in shot put,
There you
and
go.
you stormed off, and you were so mad you didn't talk to me
But
for
you know
2 days
But you know what
because
you
we
did
trained
to
for
me?
months.
You know what?
It's true.
But guess what? I broke the record at school. So
You
it
did
worked.
I
actually.
didn't break-
There was
It
8
worked.
events, and you won 7 of them, and they pulled you out of the 8th one.
No, we were
Because-
definitely raised as full-on tomboys.
Well, I just thought it'd be interesting to take them and put you into sports that normally aren't akin to women,
yeah.
like javelin,
I
and
loved it.
discus, and shot put, boxing, powerlifting.
But you know what was funny is that you were so into us doing sports and anything physical activity that anytime it was involving school, mom was out of town and she was working. You wouldn't drive us to school for that week.
Yeah,
This was, by the way, one of my favorite memories with you. By far. Mom was always on the road working.
right.
And whenever she would leave, you actually taught me what hooky was in the 4th
Hooky
grade.
is it?
And I said, "What's hooky?" I remember we were driving past my school and the top was down. It was raining and you didn't care. The rain was coming into the car.
Yeah.
I had my school uniform on. The gates were closed because we were about 4
Really?
hours late to school.
Wow.
And we just kept driving. I said, "The school's right here." And you go, "No, do you know what hooky is?" And I said, "No." And he goes, "We're about to go on the best adventure of your life." And so every time mom would go out of town, I'd be like, "It's time for hooky." And
It
we would
is.
just explore and have so much
I'm a
fun.
big believer that you can learn more out there than you can sometimes in a classroom. So I learned whatever I learned while I'm here
But
is I
isn't it-
learned out there.
Isn't it so fascinating what a kid will remember? Like
It is.
fond
That is
memory.
amazing.
Yeah,
Because I would have thought you would have ratted me out and said,
No, I'm
"Oh,
trying
let
to
me
be
do-"
good too.
I just remembered something that was horrible they used to do. Do you remember for 4 years we believed that he was on American Idol?
That was rude. I told kids in my class.
I told
Yeah,
everybody
really?
in my class. You were so we were watching
Oh,
American
come
Idol
on.
and you were like,
were
I was
so
do you remember this,
mean.
mom? We came into the room, I
Don't-
think we were in 5th grade, and we were watching it and you were like, "Yeah, you know, I was on it." We go, "No." And he goes, yeah, no, they didn't want me to continue because I was too good. And
Yeah,
guys,
that's true.
you
That's true.
idolize your
Really?
dad. Like we're
we
daddy's
thought
girls.
you were the greatest guy ever.
We told for literally 4 years. We believed that they just didn't air it. I don't know why we didn't question that. And then all of a sudden, you came up to us and we brought it up to someone, and you were like, "You actually believed that?" And so-
Yeah.
yeah, it was sad.
No, but I knew it wasn't true when one girl came up to me and said, "You're a liar." And I was in 2nd grade. I go, "No, my dad doesn't lie to me."
That's right.
Yeah, you did.
No,
Yeah, I
you
did.
did.
You big time lied. But it's okay.
Well, She's a liar, that girl.
yeah,
Don't-
she's such a
Don't
liar.
ever
Oh,
believe
yeah.
her.
But you were really
Go find her and
If-
tell her.
if opposite day was a person, that's you. I mean, it was
Mm-hmm.
ice cream for breakfast, pancakes for dinner.
Well, it sounds like the beginning of a good movie here. Like
Right.
Dad,
What's
yeah.
happening at the end?
Daddy's Day Off here.
I
Ferris
never
Bueller.
it's so funny because every time I think about, even when it comes to like marriage or proposal, I don't think you're going to be the dad that's going to sit there going, a guy like asking for your hand in marriage. I cannot
my
see you sitting there
God.
seriously going, "Yes, sir,
No,
you
this
can
is
do
what
it."
dad
or-
would do. He'd put out his hand and you'd pull his finger and make a fart joke. Like
Yeah,
that's what he
literally.
would do. That's what you would do.
I gotta see where he's like. How is he gonna handle stress?
Oh God.
Oh,
Things like, no, seriously, girls. These guys, they'll come on. They'll say everything like they'll be the most perfect individual on the planet until
Uh-oh.
that day when because you really don't know anyone until you've got into a serious argument.
See, he
Then
is
you
so
understand what a person is made of. Are they forgiving? Are they not? Are they explosive? Are they gentle? In other
Yeah.
words, you learn a lot.
I actually am learning a lot from you because you are, I would say, more involved in my dating life than most fathers
Yes, I
are in their
am.
daughters.
or
And
people, our guys, like the guys that we date, realize at
no,
all.
they don't realize that every time I break up with them, it's actually Sly breaking up with them,
Yeah.
not me. Like none of it is my words whatsoever.
He's
They're
written every
horrible.
breakup text.
I
for
don't feel
us.
sorry about one of them.
By the way, and they always give a great response. I do have to say, for some reason, you are a savant when it comes to dating for millennials.
It's actually amazing.
You really are.
He really
I know how to
knows.
get rid of guys.
No, you know how to get rid of guys, but you also know how to like us to trick them into falling in love with us too. You're like, I
Well,
can tell
that
you
you're not
exactly.
supposed to do. That's
Why? Why
you.
can't you
Why?
do that?
Because I don't think you should lead people on it. If you're not into it, then don't be into it. You know,
It's true.
just
You are very. One thing you are really instilled in us is safety, and so
yeah.
you really do
Don't
expect
lead
the
people on
worst.
because that's when people snap,
Yeah.
and you don't want that.
I have a question. What do you think of the guys that we've dated?
Losers.
Dad, come
Yeah,
on,
you
be
know what?
real.
Yeah,
They're not.
Mom's shaking her head, going, "Come on."
They're nice
I'm only
guys.
kidding, guys. I'm just doing this for the benefit of the microphone.
You know what's
Really.
funny though?
No, they've been very nice guys. They really have, and
This is
you know,
like- I do not
This is
believe it at
pulling
all.
teeth.
Yeah,
I don't believe
what-
anything
No,
what-
you're
Mom's
saying.
giving him the death glare to just say this.
they are nice guys, right? Yeah,
Mom loves him. She sits at 2 a.m.
we do.
Mom
They
misses
are.
all of them.
No, do you, the first, I love his story because this, I think, is like the first true experience I've ever had. I was the first to have a boyfriend or anything. And I think that when you're the guinea pig, you never really know what to expect when you bring a boyfriend home. And this is in high school. And I brought my high school boyfriend over for the first time meeting the
Right.
parents. And do you remember what you did to him when you shook his hand?
Yeah,
Yeah?
sort of. It was tight.
You were tight. You gripped it.
Yeah.
And after you said, next time, shake my hand like a man.
Oh well, I was a little carried away, but yes,
Dad, he was 17.
he was tall for his age, though.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he
short.
was.
He was short
And
and skinny.
He
never
was
forgot
6'5"
that.
or
He never
something.
no.
No,
Dude, he
I'll
doesn't even
tell you
remember
this.
which.
No, I'll tell you
I've
this.
only had two
Every time,
boyfriends.
every time we bring a guy over, I tell them before they go through the front door, please just grip my dad's hand hard because
Yeah.
for some reason he'll test you right there and like that'll
That's
tell
true.
everything.
listen, I'm only joking. Your boyfriends.
You
They're-
scared the shit out of
No,
me.
but you know what? Actually,
That's not true. These guys are big guys.
It's
Some of
not
them
true.
are like
It's
How about this?
6 foot
I have
five
a good
football
story.
players.
I have a good story.
What?
I was getting dropped off for a date one time, right?
Yeah.
It's my third date. I don't know, maybe I was 19. I was hoping for perhaps a kiss at the end of the night. And relax.
From him?
What?
From who?
From the bush?
Not from me.
What do you mean? Like, and I look up. No, he looks up. We're outside our house. Listen to the story. You're
What?
ruining my story.
Just jump out and go. You thought I was gonna do that? Gross.
Are you even listening to what she's saying?
Listen.
Sort
We
of.
didn't expect you to
Listen.
kiss him.
All right, I'm gonna start over.
Okay.
He pulls up our driveway,
Ah.
right? Perhaps the date and myself might kiss.
Oh.
He looks up and goes, "Holy shit, is that your dad?" And he looks up on the balcony
yeah?
of the second floor. The lights are pitch black, except you have one light in your bathroom coming behind you.
Backlit.
So it's just a black silhouette of you standing looking over down. And he got in his car. And that was the last time I saw him. He never came back. He never called me back after that.
Come on.
And I always call him, that was the one that got away.
Dude, you actually, I always say,
Wow.
you literally
And-
turn into
yeah.
King Shark. You say one word to these guys, you go,
No, he didn't have to say
Yeah.
anything. You're like the Grim Reaper over there in the
No,
corner.
Good
Who do
thing.
you think is harder to satisfy, me or Sophia?
You. I mean,
Yes!
no,
Sophia!
you,
No!
you.
Yes!
Time. What would you say?
Sophia! Yeah!
Jennifer, thank you. Mother said,
Sophia, that's obvious.
okay, I don't think it's bad to have high standards.
okay, now it's high standards. It was difficult. Now it's high standards.
It was picky. It was height. Now it's high
I'm not
standards.
hard to date. I
Complex.
just am picky. Yeah.
No, it's
Oh, well.
okay.
Okay, you and Mom have been together, I mean, married for 25 years, but been together for 35. Yeah.
2, 3, yeah.
What do you think is like the secret to keeping that long of a
She's
relationship?
She's the greatest. She is.
Aw.
She smiles a lot.
Oh,
She can't help it though.
stop.
She keeps covering her teeth, and it doesn't help because her teeth are
Not
longer
her
than
mouth, her teeth.
her teeth are longer than her fingers. So
Why?
she
That's so
like sticks out like that.
so
It's like an elephant trying to cover
No,
his tusks.
see,
Like,
that's the thing. It's like you constantly roast her.
You
No.
roast
You
her.
roast her.
You're like,
all
oh,
the
I
time.
love her, but her teeth
And
are
she's
just
too nice to
come here,
roast
my
you
little
back.
piano. Like,
Dad. So
no.
what is this?
She
What,
just-
what do you
she-
think it is that kept you?
I don't know. I just enjoy her company. She's so fun in a naive way because she actually means what she's saying.
Yeah.
That's what I think is so funny.
You always say this. You always say that mom is the only person that you've had in your entire life that you can hang out with every single day. You're like the only person I don't get annoyed with after,
That's true.
right?
No,
I
she
hope
doesn't tell
so.
you this part. She hides. I can't find her. If I'm in a
All
house,
day.
I cannot find her for 12 hours.
Actually, watching your guys' relationship did, I would say, for both Sistine and I, showed that you guys are very, very fun with each other, no matter what. You
I
guys
have a
make
lot
fun of
more
each
fun.
other.
I have a lot more fun with her than she has with me.
I think no,
I-
I think mom's a little fiery sometimes.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. Fire.
Mom's got a sharp tongue.
Did you say fiery?
What?
I didn't say fireman.
Yeah, I thought I don't see as fiery. I see it's funny.
Mom
Snort?
goes, she needs a hearing aid. There she goes. There's that tongue. Those horns.
Like
That's
big ear
hard.
trumpet, like you're about like bassoon.
See,
I
that's the thing. We call mom the town crier.
She is.
Yeah.
It's a nice word for being a big mouth. Yes, it is.
And what does
She'll
that
tell
make
everything.
you?
What?
She's a big mouth. What are you?
I wouldn't say I'm a big mouth.
No, if she's the big mouth, what are you?
I don't know, baby. I'm kind of like the,
Mr.
I'm the
It's
insulter.
all about me.
what, see, it's all about me. You guys, that's your
We make a joke.
fallback position. It's all about me.
Yeah.
God,
You know, the worst thing he's ever done was get an Instagram account. It's made him even worse. It's like
no,
every
actually, I enjoy it. Thank you.
No, I honestly think Instagram is good for you. You're connecting with your younger generation.
I'm going on TikTok next.
no.
That's
Oh
it. Yeah,
God.
for
Oh,
sure. That's it.
my
Now you've
Lord.
done it. Now you've thrown down the gauntlet.
Dad, that is officially the most embarrassing thing you can
Yeah,
do.
it really
I want
was.
you to
go
hear
on
it.
TikTok.
We're
at your
going
age.
TikToking.
TikToking.
I've never heard TikToking.
We're TikToking.
No, don't encourage this, you
Yeah,
guys.
please, guys, please.
What? No,
Dun,
this
dun,
you guys are
dun,
the problem.
dun,
All right, you're
dun,
giving
dun,
him the ego.
By the way,
Dun,
it would
dun.
mean, but actually, I don't even think he'll know how to use
I'm not
TikTok.
teaching you.
I'm not
anything.
teaching
I don't
you
need your help anymore. I'm beyond you guys.
I'm gonna keep posting videos of you.
I can
with
get a
clown
TikTok
filters.
coach. Easy.
TikTok
like that.
A
coach?
TikTok
The
coach.
first
TikTok.
I can't. Okay. You
All
know
right.
what?
Jennifer, right?
No. No.
Next time he's
The
gonna
fact that you said no, that's it.
Oh, that's
Ooh. She got you.
Well, that rule is your sorry butt out. No.
Oh my god.
no, but it's fun. I actually do love all of our dating stories. Dad, this was something we've been looking forward to for the last 50 episodes, and I'm really,
Wow.
really